ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगना रघुनाथान्वितां तं सजीवम्। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। भूते महद्वीर्यमा पुरो विभु निर्माय शेते यदमुष पुरुषा भुङ्क्ते गुणान् षोडश षोडशात्मकः सोऽहं कृष्ण भगवान् चांसि मे। श्री कृष्ण शरणं शरणागतं कथामृतं सतत पीबतं भक्ति वेदांत मार्ग पन्थनं सर्वलोक ऋषिदेव जन प्रसन्नं सर्वलोक ऋषिदेव जन प्रसन्नं। Hare Krishna, dear Prabhus and Matajis. Welcome to the morning Bhagavatam study session. Yesterday we recited half of Kuntī Maharani prayers up to the verse Gopyadade Tvai Kritagasiddhama Tavad. And we emphasized on how we should learn this and repeat it again and again. Shrinvan Supatan, hearing it, and Supatan, repeated recitation, and Vichara, and thinking over the subject matter again and again, and how important it is to study the word to word, the translation and the purports of Srila Prabhupada, because this makes the whole verses come into life. And specifically, the methodology of studying Srīmad Bhāgavatam is given by Srīmad Bhāgavatam itself, which is hearing, repeating, thinking. And secondly, the prescription given by Rupa Goswami is Srimad Bhagavatam Arthanam Asvado Rasikaisaha, that we should drink the nectarian juice of the meanings of the verses of Srimad Bhagavatam. And this is the whole endeavor. If we follow the prescription that a doctor gives, then there is chances the disease is cured, and then we can enjoy after the disease is cured. So we are suffering from material disease, which is called bhavaroga. We don't know actually what enjoyment is. However, when we take the transcendental bhava aushadhi of Srimad Bhagavatam, then it acts as a medicine. Very nicely in Srimad Bhagavatam it is said, Nivrittatarshai Rupgiyamanam Bhavaushadad Shotramano Viramam. So, Bhavaushadad Shotra. So, for people like us who are suffering, who are in between material and spiritual lives, Srimad Bhagavatam acts as the Bhava Aushadhi, as the transcendental medicine, which carries us from material samsara, life of birth and death, to transcendence. So it is very, very nice to see, every morning all the devotees participating in this transcendental hearing of Srimad Bhagavatam. So let's continue with our study. And so before we do that, any devotees would like to recite any of the verses so far that we have studied and learned? Anyone?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Do you want me to recite from the beginning or the middle?
No, any verses you like.
Okay.
From the beginning is also okay.
Okay, I'll recite the two. Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nande Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Govindaya Namo Namaha Namaha Pankajnabhaya Namaha Pankajmaline Namaha Pankajanitaya Namaste Pankajangraye Namaste Pankajangraye. Thank you. You're on mute, Prabhu.
Thank you so much. So let's go on to text number 32. So far, we have been seeing that Kunti is expressing the theme of these verses is she's expressing her Vidambanam. What does Vidambanam mean?
Confusion or difficulty?
Vidambanam.
Yes, very good.
Ashcharya.
Ashcharya, confusion or bewilderment. We understand Krishna, know what he does, how he does. It's full of contradictions. For example, yesterday we were discussing that on one hand, he steals butter, and on the other hand, he punishes Kauravas who stole the kingdom of Pandavas. On one hand, he steals the garment of gopis, and on the other hand, he expands the sari of Draupadi, covering her. And there's so many such contradictions in Krishna. And this contradiction that Kunti Maharani says continues. So although the devotee may be bewildered, all the devotee may become confused by seeing this Krishna's activities, which are full of contradictions. However, the devotee, rather than becoming disgusted, the devotee becomes appreciative that this is the quality of Krishna actually. His quality of Krishna, what is it called in Sanskrit? Inconceivable. The inconceivability of Krishna. There's a nice verse in Bhagavad Gita which describes the qualities of Krishna. And I think it's 8th chapter, 9th verse. And therein, very nicely, Krishna describes his qualities. And he says, Kavim Puranam Manushasitaram Anoraniyam Samanusmaredyam. That Kavim, that I'm Kavim. Kavim means he's the knower of everything. Krishna knows in and out what's within our heart better than ourselves. And he is Puranam, he is the oldest of all, and yet Navayovanam Cha, Brahmaji says, he is ever youthful. Anushasitaram, and Krishna controls everything. He is the supreme controller. As Kuntī Maharani says, Ishwaram Prakutetram. Kavim Puranam Manushasitaram Anoraniyam Samanusmaredyam. He is Anoraniyam. Although he is the biggest, he is smaller than the smallest, smaller than the atom. Anusmaredya. And this is how Krishna says one should remember him, think about him. And then he goes on to say, Sarvasya Dhataram Chintya Rupam. He is Sarvasya Dhataram. He maintains everyone. We eat and he digests. We breathe and he turns the oxygen, uses the oxygen to turn the food into blood. And how the blood goes within our so many millions of veins. And how we are nourished, how we are living. He is the supplier of oxygen. If we stop our breath for more than 3 seconds, we are struggling. He is maintaining all living entities. Sarvasya Dhataram. And Achintya Rupam. Achintya means he is inconceivable. So when the question of bewilderment comes, the devotee may become bewildered. Like Kuntī Maharani is expressing her bewilderment here, that fear personified is fearful of you, and yet you are fearful of Mother Yashoda. Tad atyanta vidambanam. This is indeed bewildering. But Krishna's inconceivability is celebrated by devotees, and we appreciate. Sarvasya dhataram achintya rupam aditya varnam tamasa parastha. Krishna is also aditya varnam, means he is brilliantly as shining as sun, and tamasaha parastha, and he destroys darkness. So if we have Krishna in our lives, he will destroy the darkness of our lives. So that bewilderment continues as a theme of the following verses as well. And these particular cluster of verses from verse 32 to, I think, the 4 verses, that describes the various reasons why Krishna takes his birth within this material world. And Kuntī Maharani is celebrating and describing those various reasons. Let's look at these verses. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam mudiraye. Om namo bhagavate vasudevaya. Om namo bhagavate vasudevaya. Om namo bhagavate vasudevaya. Kechit ahurajam jatum punya shlokasya kirtaye. Yado priyasyam bhavale malayasyaiva chandanam. Would anyone like to read the translation in the paper?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, anyone?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Can I try
Yes, Mataji, go ahead.
this one?
That one, yeah. Hello.
Some say that the unborn is born for the glorification of pious kings, and the others say that he is born to please King Yadu, one of your dearest devotees. You appear in his family as sandalwood appears in the Malaya hills. Also the purple. No, that's, is it purple as well, Prabhuji?
Yes, Mataji, paper as well.
Purport. Because the Lord's appearance in this material world is bewildering, there are different opinions about the birth of the unborn. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says that he takes his birth in the material world, although he is the Lord of all creation and he is unborn. So there cannot be any denial of the birth of the unborn because he himself established the truth. But still, there are different opinions as to why he takes his birth. That is also declared in the Bhagavad Gita. He appears by his own internal potency to reestablish the principles of religion and to protect the pious and to annihilate the impious. That is the mission of the appearance of the unborn. Would you like to continue, Prabhu?
Still, it is said that the Lord is there to glorify the pious king Yudhisthira. Lord Shri Krishna certainly wanted to establish the kingdom of the Pandavas for the good of all in the world. When there is a pious king ruling over the world, the people are happy. When the ruler is impious, the people are unhappy. In the age of Kali, in most cases, the rulers are impious, and therefore the citizens are also continuously unhappy.
But in the case of democracy, the impious citizens themselves elect their representative to rule over them, and therefore they cannot blame anyone for their unhappiness. Maharaj Nala was also celebrated as a great pious king, but he had no connection with Lord Krishna. Therefore, Maharaj Yudhishthira is meant here to be glorified by Lord Krishna. He had also glorified King Yadu, having taken his birth in the family. He is known as Yadava, Yaduvira, Yadunanda, etc. Although the Lord is always independent of such obligation. He is just like the sandalwood that grows in the Malaya hills. Trees can grow anywhere and everywhere, yet because the sandalwood trees grow mostly in the area of the Himalaya hills, the name sandalwood and the Malaya hills are interrelated. Therefore, the conclusion is that the Lord is ever unborn like the sun, and yet he appears as the sun rises on the eastern horizon. As the sun is never the sun of the eastern horizon, so the Lord is no one's son, but he is the father of everything that be. Hare Krishna, Hare Bol Prabhuji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji and Prabhu. So again, this paper we see is full of contradictions. Although he's born, he's unborn. Although he's no one's son, he's the father of everyone. So these contradictions for the devotees to be celebrated because Krishna is mysterious. As Christians say, God works in mysterious ways. And indeed, here we see the various contradictions about Krishna and his personality being mysterious. And only if Krishna reveals himself, then to some extent the devotees can understand who Krishna is, what activities he does, and what is the intent behind that activity. But nonetheless, in all circumstances, the devotee relish this quality of achintya, inconceivability of the Lord. Now, let's look at this particular verse in detail. So the first part of the verse says, Kechit ahur ajam jatam. In the word to word, Kechit, someone, ahu says. So there are various opinions about why Krishna takes birth. And Kuntī Maharani in these 3 or 4 verses is describing those reasons for Krishna's birth. And all of the reasons are bona fide. Ajam, the unborn, Jatam, being born. So the unborn is born. That itself is a contradiction. And we see from the Krishna book in Srīmad Bhāgavatam 10th canto that even Krishna's appearance in this material world is not like the birth of our children or ourselves. It is said Vasudeva being completely purified in his heart and mind. He transmitted his transcendence spirituality into the womb of Devaki, and that's how Krishna was impregnated into the womb of Devaki. Now, just by purification of heart, who can bring about the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Indeed, we may describe this, but this whole thing of how Krishna even appears within the womb of Devaki is a mystery to us because we cannot conceive it. But nonetheless, it happens like that. Punya Shokasya, of the great pious king, Kirtaye, for glorifying. So Krishna appears for the glorification of Punya Shlokasya, the great pious king. And here in the paper, Srila Prabhupada describes that great pious king here is referred to as Yudhishthira Maharaj. Although Nala was pious, but what is the use of piety if it is not connected with Krishna? If something is not connected with Krishna, it is condemned no matter how good it is. However, Yudhishthira Maharaj, he was pious, he was Dharmaraj, He was the expert follower of Dharma. And the greatest Dharma is to glorify Krishna. Yudhishthira Maharaj, the only reason he wanted to perform the Rajsu Yagna sacrifice, because a part of Rajsu Yagna sacrifice, there is what we call Arghya Puja. In Arghya Puja, what happens is that the best personality present in the assembly is given the first worship. So Yudhishthira Maharaj wanted to invite all the different emperors and kings, personalities of the world, all the sages and demigods, and therein declare that Krishna is Purushottama, the best of all personalities, the supreme personality of Godhead. And that is the reason, main reason, primary reason for which Yudhishthira Maharaj wanted to do Rasu Yagna of Krishna. And Krishna also wanted Yudhishthira Maharaj to do Rasu Yagna for glorifying Yudhishthira Maharaj, that he is a pious king and he is my devotees, and my devotees' fame should be spread far and wide. And then the verse goes on to say, Yadaho Priyasyan Vavaye. So, for the glorification of Yado, of King Yadu, Priyasya of Diya, Anpavaye, in the family of. So, Yado Priyasyan Vavaye. Priya, we know, means very dear. So, King Yadu, in whose dynasty Krishna appears, is very dear to Krishna. And this pastime is in detail presented in the 9th canto of Srīmad Bhāgavatam. I think it's from the 18th chapter. If you want, sometime you can go there and have a read of it. King Yadu, he was actually son of Yayati. And Srīmad Bhāgavatam, I'll try to summarize this story in short, that Yayati was cursed by Shukracharya that he will become old and invalid. And Yayati had 5 children, the eldest of whom was Yadu, and the youngest of whom was Puru. So King Yayati, because he still had not satisfied himself and to fulfill his desires in sensual way, he still wanted to enjoy with his wife. So shamelessly, as a father, he goes to his children and he asks his children that I'm still not satisfied. Therefore, can you please exchange your youth for my old age? Now, Shukracharya's daughter Devyani was Yayati's wife. And Devyani requested her father that I am your daughter, and if my husband becomes old, then what will happen to me? I'm still young. So Shukracharya then put a proviso in the case that, okay, if someone agrees to exchange his youth for Yayati's old age, then your husband can become young again. So then Yayati, a father, shamelessly goes to the sons and asks, can you please give me your youth? Because I still want to enjoy. Father forgets that it is the time for the children to enjoy, not him. So when he goes to the middle 3 children, they all refuse. But they all refuse the order of father. Scriptures say the order of father has to be followed. But he refuses the order. The children refuse the order of, 3 of the children refuse the order of father because they just wanted to enjoy themselves. However, King Yadu, he refused the order of the father because he was a dharmagya. He was the follower of the religious principles. Him refusing the order of the father was on the basis that I am still young and I need to exhaust my material desires because there is a system of varnashrama dharma. Ultimate I have to do devotion to Krishna. And how can I do devotion to Krishna if I don't go through the cycle of the Grahastha ashram, Vanaprastha, and Sannyas? Srila Prabhupada in the paper very nicely writes that those who prematurely take direct sannyas, but still they have desires in their heart, they fall down. Therefore, this institution of Varnashram Dharma is so important that it directs our desires in a proper way so that in the due course we become disgusted. And eventually everyone will become disgusted by Grahastha ashram. There's no such thing as happily live ever after in Grahastha ashram. Everyone will become disgusted. So unless one becomes disgusted by continually trying to satisfy themselves, they actually cannot take to the devotional service of the Lord or renunciation as a prelude to the devotional service of the Lord seriously. So Yadu thought that if I prematurely give up my young age for old age in which I cannot do anything, cannot enjoy anything, those desires will still remain in my heart. And I haven't experienced these endeavors yet. And so I will not be able to do devotional service sincerely. So on a higher principle for saving himself, Yadu refused the plea of the father. And it is said Krishna became very pleased with it because Yadu put Krishna first. So in our lives also, we have to put Krishna first. Whenever decision comes, if that decision is detrimental to our Krishna consciousness, we have to put Krishna first. Now, Yadu obviously is a man. So for men, it's very easy to do it. But somehow or the other, for a woman to do devotional service is more difficult because they're always under the protection of men, either as daughter, either as wife, or either as a mother. So in the 10th canto of Srīmad Bhāgavatam, we see the pastime of the Brahmana's wife, where the Brahmana's wife take offering of foodstuff, which is meant for the yagna the Brahmanas were performing. They refused Krishna those offerings. So Krishna asked the young boys to approach the Brahmana's wives. So Brahmana's wives went with the offering, and we'll look at this pastime in detail because it's relevant over the next few verses. However, there was one Brahmana's wife who could not go because she was stopped by the husband and she could not override that order of the husband. But nonetheless, was she any less than the Brahmana's wives which went to see Krishna? No, because Bhagavatam says when all the Brahmana's wives, they came back to their homes, and this particular Brahmana's wife who could not go, they related the whole pastime of how they saw Krishna's beautiful form, how they fed Krishna with their own hands, and how Krishna reciprocated. And what did this Brahmana's wife who could not go to see Krishna herself? She didn't have a choice. What did she do? She just closed her eyes and she embraced within the core of her heart this form of Krishna that is described by the other Brahmana's wife. And her love for Krishna was so intense that she gave up the material body and went back to the spiritual world. So some decisions in terms of choice may be within our control. That's well and good, but some may not be within our control. However, even those decisions which are not within our control, there is no reason why we cannot internalize our Krishna consciousness. There's no reason why within the core of our hearts, we can embrace Krishna and be with him. And that starts with the chanting of holy names. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Who can stop us from chanting other than ourselves? We are a bit over time, so I'll stop here, and we can discuss on this more tomorrow. Thank you so much, Prabhuji and Mataji. Have a wonderful Krishna conscious day. Grantraj Srīmad Bhāgavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Haribo.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you.
Krishna
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna,
Hare
Prabhu.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare
Thank you,
Krishna,
Prabhu.
Prabhuji. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
This curly that's